a Wi-Fi network between an escape room and a clue program. My name is Nicholas Springer. I attend Metropolitan State University. I also work at PuzzleWorks Escape Room, which is where this idea and research will be going. So I'm going to kind of discuss the problem that brought on this research, talk about the solution, and then talk about the background in the research that's going to provide a way to create the solution to the problem that we have. So as you can see, these are two pictures that I took from the camera screens that, as a game master, we get to see from the room. Having cameras in the rooms, being able to see what the people are doing is super great, but it has its prohibiting features. For example, sometimes the camera is blocked by people standing, right? On the picture on the left, I have no idea what they are working on, what is going on, if they're close to solving that puzzle, if they're not close to solving that puzzle. I have no idea. I can't see it. My sight is limited. The other issue that we have is that the camera angle might just not be at the right spot. Now, we typically do have several camera angles, but it's impossible to put a camera in front of each puzzle to have the perfect angle to see what's going on in each one. So because of that, it limits my ability to provide clues, to do what I need to do to give that customer the best experience and to help them solve the puzzles in hand. So the solution would be to have the puzzles really speak and interact to the clue program that I'm running on my end. So instead of me just being able to see what's going on through the cameras, I would be able to see exactly the status of each puzzle. So for example, if we have 5 medicine bottles that need to be placed in the correct order, this clue program would be able to see that, oh, okay, so bottle 2, 3, and 5 are in the correct place. Those are correct. They just have 1 and 4 mixed up. So now I can give them a specific clue that says something like 3 bottles are correct, find the 2 that aren't and switch them, or it could be like 1 is incorrect, bottle 1 is incorrect, figure out which one to switch that with, or something more specific to them instead of just a general clue that they may or may not already know. So it's great that I found this solution, but now it's how do I implement that solution? How do we create a network that's going to go from puzzles to our clue program? So just a little bit of background is all of our puzzles are constructed with an Arduino or Raspberry Pi. And the Arduinos do have a Wi-Fi ability built into them so that they are able to communicate. So the room itself is very networked already. A lot of the puzzles do communicate with other puzzles. So essentially, you can't solve this one until this one is solved, or this one's not ready to be solved yet because this one is incomplete. But we just don't have that connection built into across the building or across the room into our game master area. The nice thing is that the Arduinos and the Raspberry Pi both have that ability to transmit those messages over Wi-Fi. The clue program that we run is a web application. It's created by us, and it can receive messages over Wi-Fi. So it seems like there is that easy solution to transmit those messages over Wi-Fi so that they can interact with each other. The other thing is that the clue program does have some ability to override the Arduinos and the Raspberry Pi in case of troubleshooting. And right now, that connection is very limited. Most of it is very specific and wired. So creating this network where these puzzles and the clue program can communicate to each other is exactly another function that now we'd be able to override stuff if need be. Because there will be a whole lot more communication that happens between those two pieces. So how do we achieve the solution? The first thing that I looked into that I heard might be a solution is the MQTT protocol. So it is a protocol over Wi-Fi where the Wi-Fi Arduino itself would send its data to a central broker, as you can see in the figure. And then anybody can connect to that central broker and receive those messages. To me, my analogy was thinking of it like a radio, right? The one specific radio station beams to every single radio within range. But only a select people tune their radio to that specific station and then receive that message. So it's the same kind of concept where we can take our clue program, we can subscribe to the topic, and then we can get that data and pull that data down. So the clue program and the Arduino never actually are connected. There's just that central broker that's in the middle that's doing the connection. Kind of going with that is Node-RED. Node-RED is an open source software that you can find online, which means that it's free, which is great. And it has a MQTT broker as part of it, so it is one of their libraries. So what would happen essentially is I can use Node-RED to do the coding of what I need it to do, and that will help that connection through MQTT protocol. So for example, I could start a command where I want to get the read of those 5 medicine bottles and those magnet sensors that are in them, where it would get a read of all 5 of those sensors. I would then have that function to check it to see if it was correct. And then I can take that function and I can have it send a message which would transmit those medicine bottle colors that I have exactly pointed out here. So basically, this message inside of Node-RED would then be able to send this message to the clue program through some coding on the back end there. So both of those seem like a really good combination and a really good way to make this work. But I know there's other solutions out there too, and so I didn't want to stop there with just that. I did want to take a look at some other ones. So there is another functionality called ThingSpeak, and this is actually developed by MATLAB, and it's intended to take a bunch of devices over Wi-Fi once again, and it sends it through some data analytics that ThingSpeak has that we can kind of design however we would need, and then takes all of that data and spits it out on the computer screen. Which at face value sounds like exactly what I want, right? I want that data from the Arduinos, I want it to tell me what it's doing, and I want it to spit it out on the computer screen so that the clue program can see that data and can also interact with that data. One of the components that make this a little bit difficult is that there is some cost to this because you're using some advanced data analytics, and I actually think it's a little bit of overkill with this because I don't need a ton of data to be analyzed. I just need exact values, right? Is the magnet sensor connected or is it not? And so the connection between this would be a little bit overkill, and kind of taking that MATLAB analytics and developing a clue program from that would actually seems very difficult to do. Another solution that could possibly be a way that I do it is through Zigbee. Zigbee is actually a pretty nifty thing that I'd never heard of. And it is a tool that has its own protocol. So it doesn't use MQTT protocol. It has its very own protocol. And once again, it does exactly what all the other ones do. It connects devices to the cloud, which then can be sent to your computer or whatever. So there are some Uno Arduinos here, but most of the things I saw, it said like Zigbee uses their own type of hardware and doesn't really use Arduinos or Raspberry Pis that much. So with this solution, it seems like it'd be a little bit more costly to kind of rebuy everything in order to get this to work. But also seems like a neat option that would work and would probably be a pretty unique solution as well. So my preliminary conclusions that I found is the best way to do this is definitely going to be with the MQTT protocol and Node-RED to make those connections and to kind of send that out. It's free, it's fairly easy to use, pretty intuitive, We're not doing any crazy kind of coding or complex work here. We just need to make that connection. So I think something simple, even though it's open source software, I think would be a really good source of what we want to use. Like I kind of mentioned before, the other two ideas that I had with this either are costly or a little bit overkill for what we need. I'm really glad to have researched them, and so far all of my research has been hypothetical, just reading about things, but I have not been able to implement anything yet. So upon implementation of this, I may find out that there's some issues with Node-RED that is not going to allow us to do what we need to. And then knowing what I know about ThinkSpeak and Zigbee, I can kind of curve to one of those. So I guess that would be a plan B route for sure for me. This is also a pretty new topic, right? There's not a whole lot of escape room research out there. Most of my research is all based on people who wanted to connect different things in their Internet of Things. So there's a lot of research that's going to keep happening in that field. There's probably going to be more escape room research, especially with COVID and everything changing. But then also cloud computing is going to change so much. And we've joked, but it might be more of a reality than we think. How nice would it be to run escape rooms from the comfort of your own home? Yes, you'll need one person actually in the business, resetting rooms, working with customers and everything like that. But everybody else could just be at home running the rooms. And with cloud computing, with a web application that connects this stuff, that might actually be a reality. I've included my reference here to help me get where I am. I'll kind of scan through them really quickly. And then just open up for questions if there is. Otherwise, there's my contact information if you want to contact me with any questions as well. Thank you so much.